There's a force shaping your ROI that you'll never find in the data room. It's not in the spreadsheet, it's not in the pitch deck. Not because it's hidden, but because the industry is not trained to look for it. And it can derail even the strongest bets. The blind spot, the unknown unknown. But it's not unknown. It's just been ignored. And once you recognize it, you will never ignore it again. And if you're not accounting for it, you're not managing risk. You're leaving IRR to chance. So, what's not on your spreadsheet? It's not just strategy or market conditions, it's deeper. Every founder you back, every team you bet on is making millions of micro decisions every day. Hiring, strategy, pitching, partnering, putting out fires, vendors, and every one of those millions of decisions is governed by the same thing, the brain. Even as AI reshapes industries and automates workflows, companies are still driven by humans. Humans who pick up the phone to make the sale, go in the room to deliver the pitch, sit in the boardroom, lead the strategy session, and humans are run by their brains. This isn't mindset, it's neuroscience. The brain didn't evolve for unicorns and IPOs. It evolved to avoid danger, stick to the familiar, and create shortcuts, all of which can short circuit performance in high stake moments. If you want to optimize returns, you have to optimize the operators. Your IRR is downstream from how the brain is wired. So let's look into the science and why this matters. People often think that decisions are made by logic, reason, and analysis, but actually, they're not. That's the conscious part of the mind, where logic and reason lives, and it drives only 5% of decisions and behaviors. But cognitive neuroscientists and research from Harvard, Yale, and Stanford confirm that close to 95% of our actions, our decisions, and our behaviors are driven by the subconscious part of the mind. It's a part we're not even aware of. And here's the kicker: the conscious mind processes just 40 bits of data per second and a few events at a time. The subconscious processes 40 million bits of information per second and thousands of events at a time, past, present, and even future scenarios. The subconscious part of the mind is a million times faster. It's like a high speed operating system, always on, running scripts to act fast and stay safe. Some of these scripts are brilliant, they drive the returns that you want. Others, outdated. Because the brain wasn't built for scaling, fundraising, and boardroom decisions. It was built for survival. In evolutionary terms, it's still 10,000 years behind, scanning for threat, rejection, or uncertainty in a pitch, on a crucial call, in a meeting. These scripts and the subconscious are shaped by early experiences, beliefs, childhood, culture, and even recent events. Maybe even last week's deal that went south. And once triggered, no amount of logic, willpower, or discipline can override the subconscious. And neuroscience confirms it. Stress weakens the prefrontal cortex, the brain reverts to old patterns, not logic. And QEEG scans show we can measure and optimize decision pathways. Trust? Built in milliseconds, subconsciously. Even the media is starting to catch on. Here's an article from Harvard Business Review stating that 95% of all cognition, the thinking that drives our decisions and behaviors, occurs unconsciously. The Financial Times, the New York Times, BBC, and Inc. articles talking about how the subconscious governs markets, decisions, and behaviors, aspects of our life. And yet, most investment strategies are still blind to the brain that is running the show. So maybe think about how this shows up and maybe some companies you've seen. Perhaps a founder walks into a pitch with solid numbers, but hedges on valuation or undersells potential. Not because the model's weak, but because the subconscious script deep down whispers, can I really manage this level of capital? What if I blow it? Or maybe a sales rep hits consistent numbers, but avoids going bigger. They stall on upsells or delay enterprise deals somehow. Why? Maybe a voice or doubt in their subconscious that says, this is my ceiling. More success means more pressure or time away from my family. Or maybe I'm just not enough. Or perhaps a CEO delays hiring that senior operator the board has been pushing for. Not from stubbornness, but from wiring that says, if I hand over control, do I still matter? These aren't personality flaws, they're subconscious survival scripts. And while they don't show up in a pitch deck, they're quietly determining outcomes. But the good news, brains can be rewired. If you've seen this in your portfolio or even your own life, don't panic. You don't need new talent. You need a system upgrade at the neurological root. Subconscious scripts are programmable and reprogrammable. And neuroscience now gives us the tools to rewire them with precision. This isn't coaching or therapy. That only works on the 5%, the conscious mind. It's not even Wendy Rhodes as good as she is. Again, the 5%, the conscious mind. It's not meditation or microdosing. You can help regulate stress and help the brain, but they don't rewrite the subconscious code. You need tools that reach the subconscious operating system, neural patterns that are driving responses, loops triggered by stress, and survival instincts that stall growth, specific beliefs, specific patterns. And here's the opportunity: you can now install the code you actually want. So your team's brains naturally default to clarity, scale, revenue growth, and resilience. Because when it comes to subconscious reprogramming, QEEG scans confirm rewiring them delivers measurable gains in cognition, decision making, and performance. And Harvard research is clear: lasting change happens only when we shift subconscious drivers, not just surface behavior. This is the future of investing, not just financial capital, neurological capital. Because think of how investing exists now. Funds deploy capital, support board meetings, offer warm intros, and maybe even portfolio or platform services. Looks good on paper, but none of it assesses and rewires the subconscious that drives 95% of human behavior. This is why returns can be patchy and surprises multiply. But the next paradigm of investing changes that. It assesses and rewires the subconscious, hardwiring leaders and teams to perform during uncertainty, scale with confidence, and deliver outcomes that are aligned with the fund and the company's KPIs. When you align brain performance with the ROI that you want and the qualities that you need. And this is where Recode comes in. Recode Institute exists to usher in this future, to facilitate research backed neuroscientific protocols that can reprogram the subconscious and install custom coded scripts that are aligned with the company and fund's goals. To work directly with founders, funders, and portfolio teams so they're not just prepared, they're wired to win. To code the subconscious for the ability to scale revenue beyond market expectations, hit or exceed IRR targets with fewer surprises, hire and lead effectively with confidence, and maintain peak performance, even under stress, volatility, and uncertainty. If that's the ad you're ready for, let's talk. And if you want to understand the neuroscience behind it, click the link below. I've created a series breaking down how the brain drives every stage of growth: fundraising, scaling, leadership, navigating uncertainty, losses, deals, stress. You want to pay attention to the losses and what happens to your brain during a loss. That's super important too. Because when you understand how the brain drives behavior, from the boardroom to the sales cycle to market pivots, you stop managing risk blindly and start engineering performance by design. This is the future. Let's wire it to win.